Hey everyone, Dan from Telestats here. Hope you're doing alright. I'm back for another series analysing this year's Eurovision. It feels like it's come around so quickly. If you like the content, please subscribe and like and share and retweet and all that kind of stuff. I'd really appreciate it. This video is just going to be an overview of the main players in the market right now. Ukraine, Italy, Spain, all that kind of stuff. And hopefully one more that I've noticed that you may not have thought about. I'm going to be looking at some statistics and we'll see what we find. Let's start with the top of the market. That's Ukraine, Kalush Orchestra with Stefania. Now, obviously, it's been leading the market since the war broke out. People assume that televoters are going to be voting en masse for it out of sympathy or solidarity. In any normal year, this would not be a contender for the win at all. It certainly wouldn't be 1.66 or whatever the odds are now. It would be like a 15th place finisher, 16th place finisher, maybe. But obviously this is not about the song, it's about the story, and we've seen that many times in reality TV competitions. You know, we just had Strictly Come Dancing where Rose Ayling-Ellis, the deaf girl, her story, it kind of won it for her even though she wasn't the best dancer. Could the same thing happen for Ukraine? The main problem that I see with Ukraine winning is that it would throw the premise of the show basically down the toilet, and that is that it's a song competition, it's a song contest. If you're having sympathy votes for wars and famines and earthquakes or whatever, where does it end? You know, is every country that's going to be a victim of war going to win Eurovision from now on? I don't think that the EBU wants that to happen. I think they're going to try and stop it from happening. And there has been some evidence that the EBU has been trying to dampen vocal support during the show for Ukraine. We don't know the running order for the final. They're obviously going to qualify from their semi, but the position that they take in the running order in the final will be very telling. If they pull out a first half slot, I can imagine that the EBU would want them as early in the show as possible. I'm talking like second or third, fourth maybe. And if they pull a second half slot out again, they're probably going to be somewhere towards 13th, 14th running order slot. Anything other than that, especially a late second half slot, says to me that the EBU either wants Ukraine to win or has looked at the semi-final results and sees that Ukraine has an insurmountable lead and they're just going to roll with it. The song is good. It's one of the few songs that I've downloaded this year. It's just not good enough to win in any normal year. No juror should have Ukraine higher than 7th in their rankings. Anything more than that, and for me, as far as I'm concerned, that's clearly a sympathy vote and it's against the spirit of the competition. Honestly, I haven't really thought about Ukraine that much. In my betting, I've pretty much ignored it. The reason is that if they do win, it will only be as a result of, like I said, jurors simply not playing by the rules. And in that case, then what's the point of analysis? What's the point of looking at statistics? What's the point of even watching the show? If Ukraine win, I won't really blame myself. I'll just accept the loss and hope for a better year next year. It's just so unprecedented, the whole thing. And if we do lose on the basis of kind of a one-off political event that you really can't tell what's going to happen looking at the evidence in front of you, the numbers in front of you, the opinions and comments in front of you, then, you know, what can you do? You might as well just wait for next year. My mind tends to switch between Ukraine are going to get a huge televote and a pretty boosted jury vote, and then some days I'll wake up and be like, you know, I think the juries will be mostly fair, and I think the televoters will maybe only give it a slight boost and Ukraine will lose. The indicator that I'm looking forward to most is the semi-1 Twitter live stats for Ukraine. Sentiment there is going to be really important, and you're going to want to look at the positive sentiment column, not the negative or the total sentiment. The reason is because sentiment works on keywords like great is equal to +3 and crap is equal to -3. But obviously with Ukraine, a lot of people are going to be saying words like war and bomb and invasion. So there's going to be lots of negative words in there. So you only want to pay attention to the positive sentiment column. That's very important. Once we pass that semi, we'll have a few more numbers and we'll be able to make more confident conclusions or predictions. In the pre-final video that I'm going to make, I will hopefully be able to say whether Ukraine will win or not. Let's move on to Italy now. Italy would have been the market leader had the whole Ukraine war not happened. They're singing Brividi. It's a great song. It's high quality, and I think people up until recently had it as the jury winner and definitely a high televote winner. The rehearsals that Italy had weren't impressive. The singing was off. They said they were tired. I felt that the chemistry between Blanco and Mahmoud was weird as well. Maybe I feel like they've pissed each other off in some way. The chemistry isn't there. Hopefully they do bring it back in the final. I think that they stand a good chance with the juries. I'm thinking top 3 with the juries and then televote top 3 again. I don't think any country this year is going to win both the jury and the televote, I think it's going to be yet another one where it's a mishmash at the top. The other thing to mention is the disaster with the staging, the Black Sun of Death. This is an LED/lighting rig hybrid that can switch between acts, and what they found was that they weren't able to switch between acts, so they've just put the lighting rig for every act, which is okay, except for the countries that had staging based on the LED screen. So now you have a bunch of countries that are pissed off at Italy and may not want Italy to win again, or jurors may want to punish Italy for the fuck-ups this time. It was bad enough last year with France and Italy vying for the win, because obviously they don't compete in a semi-final, so we didn't get any numbers from there. This year it's even worse. We've got the UK, we've got Spain, we've got Italy pretty much in the top three. And again, we're not going to get any numbers. The impression that I get reading the blogs and the Eurofan community websites is that Mahmoud and Blanco aren't actually that popular as individuals. Wee Blogs pretty much ignores them, and I think Mahmoud and Blanco basically don't want to be interviewed by them. I don't blame them. But for that reason, Wee Blogs is definitely very cool on Italy's chances compared to, Spain. But in the rest of the world, in the final itself, no one but us is really going to know about all this drama. And they're going to vote for, hopefully, apart from Ukraine, they're going to vote for what they think is the best quality song. And Italy definitely stands a chance in that regard. Moving on to the UK now, I can't believe that I'm saying this in my lifetime. The UK is second favourite to win the entire competition. If the Ukraine war hadn't happened, they would probably be the favourites to win. It's like, what has happened to the world? What is this timeline? The odds right now are 8.2, that's the lowest they've ever been. The odds will probably continue to drop as well, just a little bit. With the UK, I have a few concerns. One of them is the statistics that I've seen, which I'll show you a little bit later. One of them is, and this is controversial, is the UK's image abroad, and I've had this debate multiple times on multiple places at this point. I'm personally in the camp that the UK we're not hated by Europe, we're kind of tolerated by them in a way. We're there, but we're no one's first choice of friendship. When you consider more benign countries like Belgium or Switzerland or whatever, I think we're seen in a worse light, just slightly, than pretty much every other European country, except Russia. The obvious response is that Israel won in 2018, and they've been at war with Palestine for decades. My response is that I'm talking more about an overall stereotype, an overall image that we have in Europe, which is slightly negative, and I'm not talking about a specific event like a war or anything like that. I think people will enjoy the song, but my question is, will they enjoy it so much that they go, you know what, I'm gonna vote for the UK. I hope I'm wrong. I would be really, really happy if we did win. I'd be shocked, but I'd be happy, and I would be in profit as well, by the way. I have bet on the UK to win just to cover myself, because I see Sam's song Spaceman as a jury winner or jury top two. And so therefore, if I am wrong about the televote, then he does stand a decent chance of winning. But again, let me take you back. There are statistics that make me question the popularity of the song. Are the Eurofan community just getting excited because the UK has brought on a song that isn't shit for the first time in God knows how long? There is one bit during the rehearsals which originally, when I watched it, I thought was okay, but then when I thought about it and I rewatched it again, it is kind of cheesy. It's when Sam pulls out an electric guitar in the middle of his song and starts doing like air guitar. It is a bit cringe, actually. So we'll see how the televoters take to that. We'll see how the jurors take to that. It's not like Eurovision never has a bit of cheese, so it might be okay. Moving on to Spain now, you've got Chanel singing Slow Mo, a really energetic song, really uplifting song. I think it's pretty good. The rehearsal felt a little bit like softcore porn, so it's definitely one for the dads. The USP here is that we have a competition this year which is just full of women singing really, really sad songs, dreary songs. And then you have Chanel come in and she's doing everything everywhere, booty popping or whatever they call it, and suddenly it's exciting. You feel like you've woken up again. So, and that definitely works in her favour. It makes her stand out. She already stands out. The performance and the song already stand out quite a lot. I think she will do well with the televoters, but I don't think that the juries should reward this too much. It is a difficult routine for her. There's lots of dancing, so maybe they'll give her a few extra points there, but she would be a poor winner compared to what we have in terms of actual real quality, in terms of actual credibility for Eurovision. It just doesn't hit the quality mark. It's fun, but not high quality. Now let's talk about the last big one this year, that's Sweden. It's Cornelia Jacobs singing Hold Me Closer. The song's really, really good. I liked it the first time that I heard it. Patrick Flynn from Smart Kids pointed out to me in Melfest, he thought it was going to win, it did, and it looks like it has a decent chance of doing the same here in Eurovision too. I have Sweden doing well with the juries, I have it doing well with the televote. It is like Italy in that respect, in that it satisfies both criteria, unlike something like Spain, which might falter with the juries, unlike UK, which may falter with the televote. The stats for Sweden are actually really good, better than people probably realise. What we're going to do in this video now is just going to start going through some stats, pointing out who wins, who loses from those, and then hopefully towards the end of the video draw some conclusions.
These are the app stats that come from the MyEurovision Scoreboard app, which you can download to your phone. On that application you can rank contestants from 12 to 1, and this page is basically a representation of all those points put together for every contestant. You can see that we have been monitoring since the 21st of March, and at the very beginning it was Spain, Sweden and Italy well in the lead. However, Italy seems to have trailed off a little bit. Netherlands just coming up in the rear, and then everything else, every other country just in the mix. Obviously you can see towards the end here things have changed, and that's because of the impact of the rehearsals. If we scroll down to the table, which makes it a little bit easier to see, we can see that Spain has just under 200,000, Sweden 191, Italy 161, those are top three there. Then you've got the UK a little bit further back, even behind France and Greece, 98,000, and then even further back, Ukraine, 93,000. Now let's change it to the last 7 days to incorporate only the rehearsals and the increase that's occurred during those rehearsals. So we can see at the top of the chart, it's Greece. Greece really impressed in their rehearsal. I watched that and I didn't think it was so fantastic. I feel like this is a bit of an overreaction. Spain, and then the UK and Sweden. Have we got Ukraine in here anywhere? Can we see it? Can we find it? There it is. So it's upper middle pack. If we scroll down to the table here, we can look at the period increase. You can see that Greece leads that with 21,000. But you also have to bear in mind that this is the increase, not the total. So it's conceivable that Greece, before the rehearsals, didn't have that many points assigned to it. And that's why, once it suddenly gets 8 points and 10 points and 12 points from different people, obviously it's going to have this huge increase. Versus a country like Sweden, for example, where most people are going to have given points to Sweden already. So it doesn't have that much further to go in terms of an increase in points. It's worth bearing in mind, and it's worth taking this increase and the overall points into account here. And with the overall points, what we see is that Spain, Sweden, Italy and the Netherlands are winning, with the UK and Ukraine a little bit further back. What you're looking at here are the Spotify streams we've been monitoring since early January all the way up to today. What we see here is just insane. This green line, it's Italy, 79.6 million streams, Sweden 16.8 million streams, Netherlands 13.8, Spain 10.5. I mean, this gap is significant. If we then scroll down to the table view, let's have a look. You've got UK here, 4.5 million, 9th place, Ukraine 6th place at 6.2 million. What is interesting though is, especially after rehearsals, you want to gauge who are the winners from rehearsals basically. One good way of doing that is by looking at the 7-day average versus the 1-day increment. So we have 7-day average for the UK of 70,700, but then the 1-day increase is 86,500. So that's a pretty decent percentage increase there. Look at Spain, about, let's say, 100,000 7-day average. 1-day increase yesterday was 126,000. So that's a really, really good percentage increase. Let's have a look at an example that isn't so great. Italy, 332,000 on the 7-day average, but only 340,000 on the 1-day increase. So it just didn't do that well at rehearsals. That got people fired up and listening to it. So Italy, the big loser there on Spotify streams for rehearsals. Now I want to draw your attention to a script that I wrote. Basically what it is I took all the MyEurovision Scoreboard users that had created a ranking this year, and then I extracted just the women, and that was to get rid of the sort of camp Euro fan wank vote. And then I separated them out by country, and I looked at how many points they gave each country based on the country they were from. So, for example, here we have Spain, Spanish women. We only got 30 of them, but they've ranked Italy first, and then just Sweden just behind, but look, Ukraine last. If we look at the UK, Sweden first, Italy second, Ukraine last. Then we look at Italy itself. Obviously it can't vote for itself, so it's not included. They have put Ukraine first. France has got Sweden, Netherlands, and then Italy. So we're seeing a bit of a pattern here. We're seeing Sweden and Italy most of the time changing places, first and second, first and second. Same with Poland, they're pretty close there. Netherlands, Italy, Sweden. Russia, interestingly, that has the highest sample count, and it's actually in the Netherlands which comes second. And then Germany, back to normal, Italy, Sweden. So there is an argument to be made that Italy and Sweden are actually leading the televote here. Ukraine, in pretty much every example, except was it Italy? Yeah, is not doing as well as you might think. If you focus on the UK now, it's GBR, third place, then fourth place for Italy, fifth place for France, sixth place for Poland, fourth place. So it's kind of in that third to fifth place, we're going to say, average. It's just not getting that love that you would expect. The one that really interested me though was the Netherlands, because no one's talking about it. It isn't even at the head of the market. You've got fourth there, fourth in the UK, you've got second in Italy, you've got second in France, it's Netherlands, fourth in Poland, and then obviously, you know, just second in Russia with that huge sample count. It's only 8 points behind Sweden, and then in Germany it's in third place. So I was like, oh, that's interesting, what's that about? And then I looked at the odds. Netherlands was 140 to 1 to win. And bear in mind, it's a great song. You know, the jury vote, I think, will be there for it. Obviously, there's evidence here that the televote might work out for it. So 140 to 1 was crazy, and I started backing it. I put down about 150 quid at 140 to 1, just because I think the Netherlands is the real dark horse here. If you then look at the app stats, it's doing really well there. If you then look at the Spotify stats, it's doing really well there. I don't understand why no one is talking about the Netherlands.
I'm going to leave it there. I've given you an overview of the sort of the top countries. The Netherlands, I really felt, is not being looked at by people. 140 to 1, I think it's gone down to about 100 to 1 now. I think that's criminal, that price, and it's worth covering. I can see them getting a top 5, top 6 finish. Netherlands, I watched the rehearsal and I thought it was really, really good. Anyway, if we're looking at the other countries like Spain and Italy and Sweden, I think Italy and Sweden are still showing evidence that they are leading the televote, followed by the UK and Spain, and then the Ukraine with a little bit of a gap there. In terms of the juries, it's still a subjective thing, isn't it? But, you know, I haven't shown very many stats today. There will be more as time passes, the semis come in and all the rest of it. And then before the final, hopefully I'll be able to make another video and go through all of those. But I hope that this video has shown you a kind of less subjective view of Eurovision right now by looking at the stats. Please like and share this video and comment below. I'm not sure if I'm going to do a video for the semis. I haven't really decided yet, but I will almost certainly try and do one for just before the final. So I'll see you then. Cheers.